Recently, there have been several clashes between Chinese citizens and Pakistani police at the Khunjerab Pass, located on the border between Pakistan and China. On September 19th, near the Sost border checkpoint in Gilgit-Baltistan, Pakistan-administered Kashmir, Chinese citizens who were stranded due to a border blockade clashed with the local police. Sost is the last town on the Karakoram Highway before entering the Chinese border. The Chinese citizens demanded to leave, but were stopped by the police. One Chinese citizen waved the Chinese Communist Party flag and tried to use it to challenge the police. This was the second clash in September. On the afternoon of September 10th, dozens of Chinese citizens had a violent confrontation with Pakistani police. The footage showed several Chinese men pushing and even throwing punches at the police, attempting to break through the blockade. Some of them were holding what appeared to be cement blocks to threaten the officers. A video shows a Chinese woman in dark clothing and green pants, yelling at the police while getting closer to them, shouting, "Don't touch me." The root of the conflict traces back to ongoing trade protests in the Gilgit-Baltistan region. Since May 2025, local merchants formed the PAC-China Traders Action Committee, TAC. They began holding large-scale sit-in protests along the Karakoram Highway. They protested the federal government's unfair tax policies and restrictions on the flow of goods in the region. The protesters accused the Pakistani government of imposing higher taxes on businesses in Gilgit-Baltistan compared to the rest of the country, and restricted their ability to receive goods from ports, severely damaging the regional economy. After 51 days of protests without resolution, on September 8th, the protesters escalated their actions by blocking the Khunjerab Pass, cutting off the only land route for Chinese citizens to return to China. On the 10th, a group of Chinese citizens at the border complained about the situation, which led to a verbal and physical altercation with the police. According to Overseas Home Network, by September 10th, over 100 people, including Chinese citizens and nationals from other countries, had been stranded at the Sost border checkpoint. Over 80 Chinese citizens were facing severe shortages of food, water, medical supplies, and communication support. With no resolution in sight, some of the stranded Chinese citizens lost control of their emotions and demanded that the police open the passage immediately. However, Pakistani media outlet Hum English reported that the PAC-China Tajir-Ittihad Action Committee, which initiated the protests, accused the group of Chinese citizens of being incited and claimed they had premeditated efforts to disrupt their peaceful protests. The committee stated that although the police intervened in time, they still feared similar incidents might occur again. The committee also declared that if their demands were not met, they would continue their sit-in protest and urge the government to take strict measures and prevent trouble caused by Chinese people. Witnesses reported that some Chinese citizens were holding stones and were attempting to attack the vendors. The altercation occurred when police stopped them from heading towards the protest camp, leading to a heated argument and physical conflict. This incident occurred during the ongoing progress of several projects under the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC. The Khunjerab Pass is an integral part of CPEC. This economic corridor, with a construction cost of billions of dollars, aims to build comprehensive trade and transport infrastructure between the world's second and fifth most populous countries. According to Overseas Home Network, it is important to note that some residents of Gilgit-Baltistan have long expressed dissatisfaction with the uneven distribution of CPEC policy benefits and the resource imbalance favoring Beijing. This incident may further strain the cooperation between China and Pakistan in regional governance. CPEC is a flagship project of China's Belt and Road Initiative, and this situation highlights the complex intersection between Chinese personnel overseas and local public protests. When discussing Pakistani discontent with Beijing, we must mention Gwadar, the hub of CPEC located in Balochistan, southwest Pakistan. Since the start of CPEC construction 10 years ago, China has invested over $25 billion in Pakistan and is eager to utilize Gwadar port as a strategic gateway to expand China's international market. Balochistan, with a population of 15 million, is the largest and poorest province in Pakistan, sharing borders with Iran and Afghanistan. It is Pakistan's largest province, and it is rich in natural resources. The deep-water port of Gwadar, which is located in Balochistan, was built in 2006 and is operated by China. The port provides Beijing with direct access to the Indian Ocean and has long been regarded as the core project of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. Additionally, China has built Pakistan's largest airport in Gwadar. However, in July 2024, large-scale protests erupted in Gwadar against the International Airport project. The protests were sparked by opposition to the unfair development of Pakistan's natural resources. On July 27, 2024, Pakistani paramilitary border forces opened fire on buses traveling to Gwadar for the Baloch National Convention. The incident injured at least 14 people. The Balochistan provincial government blocked roads and highways, cut off internet and phone communication, and isolated Gwadar, a port city once touted as a potential Dubai. It has now become the focal point of tensions between the Baloch people, the Pakistani government, and Beijing. The Pakistani military condemned the unprovoked attacks by violent crowds, stating that these assaults resulted in the death of one soldier and left 16 others injured. However, protesters were upset about the authorities' arrest of dozens of Balochi people. The protest was led by the Baloch Unity Committee, BYC, an organization focused on the civil, political, and economic rights of Baloch citizens. In August 2024, Deutsche Welle reported that the BYC's chief organizer, Marang Baloch, accused China and other investing countries of exploiting local resources without benefiting the Baloch people. He claimed that they were directly involved in the genocide of Balochis. Political analyst Malik Siraj Akbar noted that China had not adequately considered the tensions between the people of Gwadar and the Pakistani government, thus becoming embroiled in the conflict between the Baloch and Islamabad. Journalist Kia Baloch, who has extensively reported on Balochistan, highlighted that protests organized by the Baloch Unity Committee are mainly against the joint policies of Beijing and Islamabad regarding Gwadar. China had promised to develop Gwadar into a Shenzhen or Hong Kong, but after 10 years of CPEC, this promise has not been fulfilled. Additionally, a large number of women joined the protests. Kia Baloch noted that such a high turnout of women fighting for their rights was unprecedented, not only in Balochistan, but across Pakistan. Besides the 2024 protests, there was also a major protest in 2023. The Haq Do Tahrik Gwadar rights movement staged a sit-in to blockade the port, and tensions lasted for weeks. The sit-in began in late August 2023 and escalated in the third week of December. Protesters clashed with the government, demanding that Chinese citizens working in the area leave. Police pursued the leader of the Gwadar rights movement, Rahman, who posted on Facebook, stating that the common people of Gwadar had not benefited from CPEC. Instead, it was the elite class of Pakistan that gained the most. He vowed that the protest movement would continue. On December 10th, thousands of women gathered in Gwadar to show their support for Rahman. Al Ghwa reported that Gwadar, with its deep water port, is at the heart of the China-Pakistan economic development, hailed as the jewel in the crown of CPEC. However, as an economic development center, Gwadar has not improved the lives of local people. Instead, it has become a source of frustration for the locals, with these projects mainly managed by Chinese workers or officials from other Pakistani provinces. What's even worse is that the people of Gwadar feel that their identity and ownership of their homeland are under threat. They fear that the rapid influx of Chinese workers and traders may lead to demographic changes that could erode their cultural identity. The Pakistan Federation of Chambers of Commerce and Industry also expressed concerns over this population shift, predicting that by 2048, the number of Chinese people in Gwadar will surpass the local Baloch population. The long-standing resentment and anxiety among the people of Gwadar have erupted through the Gwadar rights movement. In recent years, China has faced significant security challenges in Pakistan, with the Pakistani public increasingly dissatisfied with Chinese investments. Since 2021, Gwadar Port has witnessed several large-scale protests. Despite the CPEC being launched a decade ago, local residents remain frustrated over the deprivation of basic civil rights and essential goods. Independent security analyst Kia Baloch wrote in 2024 for The Diplomat that the Pakistani government's use of force against a peaceful movement could push more Balochi youth toward violent rebellion. According to data from the South Asia Terrorism Portal, there were 248 violent attacks in Balochistan in the first 7 months of 2024. Chinese workers involved in CPEC and other projects have also become targets of violence. Beijing has only condemned the related terrorist attacks, and state media reports have downplayed the severity of the situation. The Chinese government, for its own purposes, funds infrastructure projects in Pakistan using Chinese taxpayer money. In response to the Belt and Road Initiative, Chinese laborers travel to Pakistan for these projects, but tragically lose their lives. However, the Chinese government seems to show little regard for the lives of its citizens. This approach, which brings misfortune to foreign populations while harming its own people, is perhaps unique to the Chinese Communist Party. As the CCP deepens its investments and control in Pakistan, the United States has stepped in, seeking to curb Chinese influence. On July 30th of this year, U.S. President Donald Trump announced that the U.S. had reached an agreement with Pakistan to cooperate in developing the country's vast oil resources. Trump wrote on his social media platform, Truth Social, that they were in the process of selecting an oil company to lead their partnership. Trump's post did not elaborate on the details of the agreement, but speculation suggests that this cooperation may be part of a broader trade deal. Following this, Pakistan's Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar confirmed the agreement on social media, but did not provide further details. A statement from Pakistan's Ministry of Finance indicated that the agreement marks the beginning of a new era of economic cooperation, particularly in energy, minerals, information technology, cryptocurrency, and other sectors. On August 13th, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio congratulated the people of Pakistan on their Independence Day, emphasizing that Washington looks forward to exploring new areas of economic cooperation, including minerals and hydrocarbons. Pakistan's Minister of Commerce, Jam Kamal, announced that Islamabad would provide investment opportunities in mining projects for U.S. companies, focusing primarily on Balochistan in the southwest. The government plans to offer favorable terms, such as leasing agreements, through joint ventures with local companies. Balochistan is home to several major mining projects, including the Reko Diq mine operated by Barrick Gold, which is considered one of the world's largest gold-copper mines. In recent years, trade and security cooperation between the U.S. and Pakistan has been heating up. According to the U.S. Trade Representative's Office, bilateral trade in goods between the two countries reached $7.3 billion in 2024, a nearly 6% increase from the previous year. The U.S. has also designated Pakistan as a major non-NATO ally. In June 2025, President Trump hosted a dinner at the White House for Pakistan's Chief of Army Staff, Asim Munir. This unprecedented one-on-one meeting lasted 2 hours. Trump expressed his pleasure in meeting Munir, noting that under Munir's cooperation with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the U.S. facilitated a ceasefire between the two countries, preventing a potential nuclear war. The Pakistani military revealed that the two sides discussed trade, economic development, and cryptocurrencies. The military further stated that President Trump expressed a strong interest in building a mutually beneficial trade relationship with Pakistan based on long-term strategic alignment and shared interests. Munir also stated that he would nominate Trump for a Nobel Peace Prize. It is widely believed that Pakistan is a key node in China's Belt and Road Initiative. China has promoted the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor across the country, involving major investments in ports, electricity, roads, and mining development. However, the U.S. is actively engaging in energy and mining cooperation in Pakistan, strengthening security and counterterrorism dialogues. This move is not only driven by economic interests, but is also seen as a strategic effort to counter China's expanding influence in South Asia. In a report, the Hudson Institute pointed out that since the Trump administration began its second term, it has adopted a more pragmatic foreign policy, willing to cooperate despite differences in values. This approach has opened opportunities for improving U.S.-Pakistan relations. They called for the U.S. to assist Pakistan by providing debt assistance, improving financial transparency, and increasing Pakistan's access to international loans, thereby reducing Islamabad's dependence on Chinese funding. At the same time, the U.S. would support pro-American groups within Pakistan, promote Western values and culture, and expand cooperation in key minerals, supply chain shifts, technology, and other areas to counter China's influence in the country. In the future, as U.S.-Pakistan cooperation deepens, China's influence in the region is likely to diminish. Particularly, the people of Pakistan will undoubtedly welcome the genuine assistance from democratic countries and continue to reject the destructive construction efforts led by the Chinese Communist Party.